It's time to take a ride on the Nightmare Merry-Go-Round one more time because the Killer Clowns are returning to Halloween Horror Nights, and this time they're going to have their very own house. The scare zone that we had last year was insanely popular. I feel like I spent the majority of my scare zone time at Horror Nights in that zone because it was just so incredibly fun. The costumes were so on point. The scare actors playing the clowns were incredible. The scare actors playing the Terenzi brothers, amazing. And I think after seeing it as a scare zone, the majority of us have been dying to see it as a house. Although the Killer Clowns scare zone that we had at Horror Nights 28 turned out to be one of my favourite scare zones of all time, when it was first announced I was like, no, a scare zone, this film deserves to be a house, and I couldn't understand why they would be putting it in a scare zone over putting it in a house. But yesterday when the house was announced, Mike Aiello had actually tweeted that bringing Killer Clowns to Horror Nights was such a personal quest of his, and that the creative team were allowed to create the scare zone last year as a kind of test, and seeing all of the guest feedback and how much the fans really loved the zone, it meant that they were able to bring it back as the house that the film deserves. And again, the scare zone was incredible. I can't fault the scare zone in any way. I think they brought it to life amazingly well, and it couldn't have been any better. We've had a similar kind of situation in recent years with scare zones that have worked incredibly well being brought back as a house the following year. So we had Trick or Treat, which was an absolutely gorgeous scare zone, and then that was brought back last year at Halloween Horror Nights 28 as a house, and it was one of my favourite houses that we had last year. I think that it did actually rank pretty high on my final house ranking list. There is no shortage of cool things that we could see in the house this year. So some things that have been confirmed that we'll see are the baby clowns. Look how adorable they are. They are so freaking cute. I can't wait to see these in the house. We're going to see Clownzilla, and he is one of my favourite characters in the film. I hope that he's absolutely huge. I hope they go all out with him, because if they do, it's going to look incredible. And that'll make 3 giant creatures that we're going to be seeing in the IPs so far at the event. So we'll have Clownzilla, we'll have the giant Stay Put Marshmallow Man in Ghostbusters, and we'll have the absolutely grotesque Mind Flayer from Stranger Things Season 3. It's also been confirmed that we'll see the Killer Clowns Circus Tent spaceship in the house. I'm imagining that this is going to be our facade. The house is rumoured to be in the Shrek building, so that's where we had the Halloween 4 house last year. It would have been really cool if we could have had this in a tent house, and then the entire tent could have been the spaceship. But I'm hoping to at least have a tent facade. And we're also going to get to see the Cotton Candy Cocoon room. I am dying to experience this room. I think it's going to look incredible. The sets from the film are obviously very 80s and campy, and I just can't wait to see it realised. But speaking of cotton candy, it has been also confirmed that we will have scents pumped into the house. So we'll have cotton candy scent, we'll have popcorn scent, kind of reminiscent of the Slaughter Cinema house last year. I love a good Halloween Horror Nights house scent. And I'm also hoping that this means that we will maybe get to see some Killer Clowns themed drinks. So I spoke about this in the Scare Zone announcement video last year about how I'd really love to see a cotton candy cocoon cocktail. So it could be like a red coloured cocktail with cotton candy inside of it. You could have a curly straw. Imagine how cool that would be. I really hope that themed snacks is something that they capitalise on this year, because I'm always all about the themed snacks. So moving on to things that haven't been confirmed but that I would personally really love to see in the house. I'd love to see Officer Mooney being used as a ventriloquist dummy by Jumbo. I think that would look awesome. I really want to see Shorty knocking the guy's block off, and I would love to have the pie scene. I want these clowns to be throwing foam at me as if they're throwing a pie at me. So following yesterday's announcement, I had the absolute pleasure of interviewing my lovely friend and Killer Clowns composer, John Massari. He very kindly agreed to come onto my podcast, Universal After Dark. If you haven't already listened to it, I'll leave a link for it in the description below. It was such a cool and interesting interview. Probably one of my favourite interviews that I've ever done. And it's such a joy to know that his music is going to be used in the Killer Clowns house this year, because it was so loved by everybody in the zone last year. And it was also alluded to in the interview that we may have another Killer Clowns from Outer Space surprise coming our way at this year's event. I wonder where it could be. This is the 4th IP that we'll be sharing this year with the event over in Hollywood. So along with Killer Clowns, we're also sharing Ghostbusters, Stranger Things, and kind of Universal Monsters. So their house is going to be Frankenstein versus the Wolfman, whereas ours is going to feature the entire lineup of the classic monsters. Moving on to rumours, we have 6 weeks left until the event starts, and we still have 3 houses left to announce. We have Scare Zones and we have the shows. So the houses rumoured to be announced next are House of 1,000 Corpses. We have the original house, which is a graveyard themed house. So on a couple of recent podcasts that we've recorded, we've spoken about how this could potentially be maybe a vampire graveyard kind of house, kind of like Highgate Cemetery in London. However, more recent rumours are pointing more towards this being a kind of generic graveyard kind of house, so ghostly. We also have a last minute IP switch. So this is something that's going to replace an original house, and I haven't spoken about it in videos yet, even though it's been kind of circulating the internet for quite a while now, just because I didn't want to get anybody's hopes up about it. I didn't want to get my own hopes up about it. I kind of wanted to wait until the rumour got a little bit more spicy. So that rumoured IP house is Jordan Peele's Us. And this is something that is exciting because it's a very recent film. It was a fantastic film. I don't think I've ever left a cinema and Googled a film as much as I Googled that one. It was so interesting and there was so many levels to the film. I did think it was brilliant. I did speak quite a lot afterwards about how I didn't think that something like that would work as a Halloween Horror Nights house, but every time I've ever said that in the past, I've been proved wrong. So I have no doubt that it's going to be an incredible house, if it's true. So now that you guys know my thoughts on the Killer Clowns house, I really want to know what you think about it. So let me know in the comments down below, or you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram here and we can have a chat about it. If you feel like you want to get in the Halloween Horror Nights mood, I have a whole bunch of playlists of vlogs from previous years. I will put a little link in one of these corners so you guys can go and check them out. But that is it for this video. I will no doubt be back next week with another Halloween Horror Nights announcement. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.